On Friday evening, I arrived home weary but optimistic. After a week of shuttling between planes, fixing issues, and tracking down mechanical problems, I yearned for a tranquil night with my charming spouse. With 22 years of marriage behind us, our 3 children having flown the nest to start their lives independently, I envisioned an evening of quiet romance, perhaps a fancy outing exclusively for the two of us. I entered through the garage, dropped my bag, and headed into the kitchen. The kitchen counter was strewn with bills and mail, nothing new. As I sifted through envelopes, I heard footsteps from upstairs, followed by someone hastily descending the stairs. A moment later, Lormie's stunning 45-year-old wife emerged in the living room, wearing her robe that used to quicken my heart rate whenever she donned it. In that instant, a part of me reacted to her as I always had. "Oh," she said, halting suddenly, "you're early. I wasn't expecting you for another hour." Glancing at my watch, I confirmed, "Yes, I'm early. Not by much, though. What's happening? Are we going somewhere?" She hesitated, looking away from me, and replied, "Well, I'm leaving. I'm not sure about your plans." And with that, my weekend crumbled in a single sentence. "What do you mean you're leaving? Where are you going? With whom?" I queried, already spotting a well-packed overnight bag on the end of the couch. She hesitated for a moment too long. "I have a date. With Thomas Whitaker. For the weekend. I'll be back Sunday night. We can discuss it then." Stunned, I stood there like a fool, struggling to process. "What in the world did you just say?" But she didn't linger. She spun and dashed upstairs, her robe swirling behind her, and I heard our bedroom door slam shut. What on earth is happening? Is this actually happening? Dear friends, if you enjoy this story, please like and subscribe to our channel. It will motivate us to make more videos like this for you. Is she really doing this? My hands trembled. A combination of fury and disbelief pulsed through my chest. I required reinforcements. I needed spectators to corroborate this, so she couldn't shift the blame onto me later. I swiftly retrieved my phone from my pocket and dialed my daughter. I wouldn't let Laura portray me as the antagonist in this narrative. I snatched her handbag from the kitchen counter and emptied it onto the coffee table. "Sarah, you need to return home immediately," I said urgently. "She's hurt her head. She needs aid." "What?" "Oh my God, I'm on my way," she replied, her voice filled with concern before ending the call. Following this, I texted Lee Madded. "Tell Noah to rush over. Quickly." His prompt reply arrived. "Dad, what's going on?" I disregarded it. Then I phoned her parents, gave them the same account, the same bewilderment, the same mounting alarm. Simultaneously, Laura's handbag contents scattered keys, credit cards, lip gloss, and a dozen Trojan condoms. A dozen. I had a vasectomy 15 years prior. Beneath that, an email confirmation from the Marriott Hotel in Kenworth for rooms 703 to 710. What on earth? Thomas Whitaker, a familiar name. He was one of Laura's pediatric surgeons at the hospital. We had crossed paths at those annual hospital Christmas gatherings over the years. Smooth-talking and arrogant, with a fake grin, made my skin crawl. And his wife, Rebecca, stunning physique and eyes that seemed to hold secrets she might not be allowed to verbally share. I gritted my teeth, took her credit cards and keys, and pocketed the hotel confirmation as a precaution. Then I unlocked her phone. Coincidentally, it was our anniversary that served as the passcode. How romantic. While she was likely still upstairs, preparing for her little romantic escape, I snatched the emergency contacts list from her work binder. Found Dr. Mark Brennan called Mrs. Whitaker's home number. She wasn't expecting it, but answered anyway. "Ah, I was anticipating a call from your husband," she said. "I remember meeting you both at last year's holiday party. You see, Thomas and I had been discussing you just a few days ago." There was a pause before she spoke again, with more caution in her voice. "However, it seems I received the wrong call. Is everything all right?" Mark confirmed that he was indeed Mark Brennan, husband of Laura Whitaker, head nurse at the hospital where Mr. Whitaker worked. The tension grew. "So, your husband isn't currently home?" Mrs. Whitaker replied. "No, he's in Boston for a surgical conference." Why do you ask? Mark's voice became harder as he spoke. I'm afraid I have to inform you that I believe Mr. Whitaker is not actually in Boston. A heated disagreement just occurred with my spouse. She informed me she would be at the Marriott in Kenworth over the weekend, apparently with your husband. She said she'd return Sunday night. Silence filled the line on the other end. What? What do you mean? I believe we're both being deceived. I have their reservation confirmation via email. 7 connecting rooms, 7th floor, from today until Monday. Another extended pause followed. Then a sharp breath escaped her. I've saved your number, Mark Brennan. I'll get back to you. I can no longer tolerate this deceit. The call ended. I forcefully hung up the phone, my hands still trembling. A single thought raced through my mind. This rabbit hole is far deeper than I thought. I retrieved the emergency contacts list again and dialed Natalie Roberts, the director of health services at the hospital. She and Laura were friends. Natalie, this is Mark Brennan. And Carl, her husband, he's a detective sergeant, isn't he? She answered on the second ring. Yes, hello? Laura's spouse. A worried exclamation emerged from the speaker. Indeed, I responded harshly. It appears there might be an inappropriate relationship between your Dr. Whitaker and my wife. I want it examined thoroughly and halted immediately. Unfortunately, Mark Roman too can't speak now. I must leave. Click. What on earth? Shortly afterward, Laura's phone began vibrating on the counter. I answered instinctively. Before I could utter a sound, a panicked voice whispered from the speaker. Laura, he discovered it all. He knows everything. What did you reveal to him? It was Natalie. I didn't share anything. Just let her worry. Not only that, Laura's voice echoed weakly from somewhere upstairs. But he's figuring things out. There was a long, tense sigh from Natalie's end. Good luck. Click. I stared at the phone for a moment, then scrolled through the call log. Found Natalie's home number. Dialed. After 4 rings, a man picked up. If your call pertains to my cable service, let me clarify, I am Mark Brennan, you interrupted. Carl, her husband. Apologies for the confusion. I've been receiving numerous spam calls today. All good, though. Everything okay? A moment of hesitation, then. Is Natalie at home? No, I'm looking after the kids as Laura is away on a hospital team building retreat this weekend in Philadelphia. Why do you ask? A deep breath and a sigh followed. Carl, it seems that retreat might not be what it appears to be. I've just discovered Natalie is allegedly meeting with Dr. Whitaker over the weekend, and it looks like she's somehow involved. 7 rooms booked under his name at a hotel in Kenworth. 7 rooms. It's more than just the 3 of them. Pause. Do you share my concerns? I inquired. Carl pondered for a while before responding. I can't say I know what to think, but I do know one thing. Laura won't be leaving our home tonight, no matter what happens. Even if it means facing jail time, I want to hear from you if you find anything. Stop behaving recklessly. It was simple for him to say. I swiftly ended the call as Laura was making her dramatic descent down the staircase, resembling a villain from a soap opera. She donned a tight red silk dress, clinging so closely to her body it appeared sewn on, with a neckline dipping almost to her navel and a side slit stretching nearly to her thigh. Upon noticing her purse and its scattered contents on the table, she halted abruptly. What in the world, Mark? I have to go. Why did you mess up everything? She began rushing to gather her things, but I moved towards her, my voice low yet stern. Oh, no, no, you're not leaving. Not tonight. Sit your unfaithful self down and be quiet. She paused, her hands shaking. I don't belong to you, she retorted softly. I have the freedom to do what I want with my body. I responded, my laughter filled with bitterness and coldness. Oh, really? Then it seems I can do whatever I want as well. How do you like that? Without a second thought, I acted. Fury, betrayal, and astonishment surging, I swiftly grabbed the deep neckline of her dress and pulled it harshly. The fabric ripped like paper. In a flash, Laura stood there, nearly exposed, with an open-cup bra, smoky gray lace garter belt, and sheer stockings clinging to her legs. lingerie that I now understood had no connection to me. She screamed and took a step back. "What's wrong with you?" she demanded, staring at my dress. "This dress?" I replied, my voice icy. "Yes, it's mine. I bought it for our 25th wedding anniversary. Just like all this revealing lingerie. If you think you're leaving here dressed like that to sleep with some doctor in a hotel, think again." As if on cue, my phone rang. I picked it up, still looking at her. "Yes?" the voice asked. "This is Rebecca Whittaker." I froze. "What is it?" "You were correct. I phoned the police about the stolen car, which I had purchased in my name for Thomasitz. He was stopped by the police just a few minutes ago. He informed them it was his vehicle, arguing he had the legal right to drive it." She gave a cynical laugh. "The authorities called me, and I informed them he's not my husband at all." You could hear the terror in his voice when I said that over speakerphone. He immediately asked for an attorney. "He's now under arrest, and the vehicle has been seized." She took a moment to catch her breath. "Make sure you tell your wife. If it happens again, I'll personally retrieve her." While we were still on speaker, Laura's face paled upon hearing the name Rebecca. She let out a cry of alarm. "What have you done, Mark? Oh my God!" Just then, as if in response to the uproar, our children burst into the house through the front door. "Dad, what's happening?" "Mom, are you all right?" Liam asked with wide eyes, while Sarah quickly rushed over to check on her mother. "Child, Mom, what's with your dress?" Their gaze shifted to me, and I could sense the growing disapproval. Then Liam confronted his mother, teeth gritted. "What on earth are you up to, Mom? What is this?" Sarah indicated a heap of clutter on the coffee table. "A dozen packs of condoms in your handbag. Really? For water balloons, maybe?" "I don't know how they got there," Laura murmured, shuddering. "They're not mine." "Oh, really?" Liam retorted sarcastically. "And where were you off to? A romantic getaway without Dad? That's what I'm guessing." "I have the right to make my own choices," Laura retorted more forcefully. "It's my body." The remorse was evident on her face as soon as she spoke. The kids stared at her as if she had offended them. She then mumbled more softly, "It's private." Noah appeared from the kitchen, carrying an envelope. "Dad, here's something I found on the counter." He handed it to me, casting a disgusted look at his mother. Laura's eyes widened. "Don't read that," she exclaimed, leaping off the couch, the tattered pieces of her dress hitting the floor. Sarah hurried to her side, attempting to cover her with a blanket. "Mom, stop," I commanded. "And be quiet." I unfolded the envelope. "My dearest husband," I read out loud. "My sister is looking after her mother and needs assistance. I will be with them this weekend and will return home Monday evening. Kisses and hugs, Laura." The kids exchanged worried glances, unsure of what to believe. It dawned on me that she must have penned the letter before my arrival, catching her in the midst of a lie, her entire scheme unraveling in real time. And indeed, it seemed as if fate was preparing popcorn and settling down for the spectacle. The doorbell chimed. Before Noah could reach the door, it opened and Laura's parents burst in. "Laura, are you all right?" her mother asked. "What on earth is happening here?" bellowed Laura's father. Dazed, Laura collapsed in the living room, almost completely undressed. "Hello, Mom." "Hello, Dad," I said, worn out. "Welcome to the center of chaos. Your daughter has just potentially destroyed our marriage and her entire life and career." Laura's mother knelt by her, stroking her hair anxiously while Sarah waved a cushion over her, trying to revive her. In contrast, Laura's father stood stiffly across the room, his arms crossed, his face growing redder by the moment. The tension in him seemed palpable. I recounted everything Laura had done, the hotel booking, the lie to the kids, the falsified lettering, every detail. The room grew colder still as I spoke. As Laura regained consciousness, she surveyed the room, taking in her parents, her children, her tattered dress, and me standing there, arms folded. She burst into tears and gripped her mother's arm, pleading, "Assist me." "Help me, Mom," she sobbed. "Oh, you need help," I retorted sarcastically. "Perhaps you should contact your sister." You were supposed to aid her in caring for her mother this weekend, weren't you? Maybe she can repay the favor. I retrieved a fabricated letter from my pocket and handed it to her father. As he read it out loud, I phoned Amanda, Laura's sibling. After a few rings, she answered. "Hello, is this Mark?" I inquired. "Yes, Amanda. How is your mother?" "She's fine. Doing exceptionally well, actually," she continued, praising Laura for being so helpful that week. I gritted my teeth. "May I speak with her, please?" "Well, she's occupied at the moment, but I can ask her to call you back later." In the background, Laura's mother interjected abruptly. "Give me the phone." A moment later, Laura's mom snapped into the receiver. "This is unnecessary, you selfish little..." The conversation escalated into a heated argument. Amanda was shouting anguished cries over the phone, prompting Laura's mother to respond with equal anger. Overwhelmed, Laura collapsed onto the floor once more, weeping publicly before her family and I. Bitterly, she murmured, "Don't worry about my health, Amanda," after her mother ended the call. As if on cue, my phone rang again. It was Carl. "Mark, this is Carl. You were correct," he said somberly. "We have a warrant for the Marriott. 7 rooms, just as you predicted. We used a missing person pretense and searched the place thoroughly. A total of 12 people were found: 3 male doctors, 4 female doctors, 4 nurses, 1 HR manager." He paused, then apologized. "I'm truly sorry, man." "I am too, Carl," I replied softly, "but that's how it is. Thanks." I ended the call and turned my attention to Laura, now sitting dejected at the foot of the stairs like a hurt creature. "Go upstairs. Put on something appropriate. Pack your bags and depart from my home." She whimpered, but eventually mustered strength to rise, shaking. She started to leave, but paused halfway up the stairs, bowed head. "Please, please don't abandon me like this." I retorted sharply. "Now you show concern?" "Following your 'it's my body, I can do as I wish' nonsense. You recall the countless times I could have strayed? The waitress at the diner, she comes to mind. The saleswoman at the Lincoln dealership. Even your sister flirted with me when you weren't around. But I didn't, because I loved you." My voice quivered slightly. "And this is how you reimburse me." She burst into fresh sobs and hurried up the stairs, a high heel echoing behind her. The living room fell into an uneasy quietness. After a pause, Sarah murmured softly, "I'll go check on her. Ensure she doesn't make any reckless decisions." 30 minutes later, Laura returned, seeming like someone battered by a hurricane. Her disheveled hair, smeared makeup, worn jeans, an aged hoodie hinted at a decade's passing. She trudged her suitcase along as if it weighed a ton. Noah positioned himself near the front door to confront her. "Don't worry, Mom," he said, his tone brimming with mock concern. "Adrian and I will see to it that your next wedding doesn't clash with any of your retreats for intimacy. It seems you forgot to include us in this event." Adrian was Liam's girlfriend. Clearly, their relationship had progressed. A mental picture of Laura's second wedding formed. Laura stood frozen at the door, desolate. Her mother assisted her down the steps gently. Her father hesitated before addressing me seriously. Is there any possibility to mend this? She evidently needs help." "Perhaps nothing transpired," I stated curtly. "If she wishes to speak with my legal representative, that is her prerogative." He tried to console me. "She cares for you, son," he whispered. I gazed back at him unyieldingly. An odd demonstration of affection. I faced her father and retorted, "An unusual display of affection. That's the pattern with individuals like them. They resort to the same tired alibi. Consenting adults. No one truly harmed. They only express remorse when caught." True to form, the repercussions swiftly followed. It was revealed that Dr. Whitaker hadn't just reserved the rooms for a romantic weekend getaway, but had used the hospital's corporate card to pay for the entire affair: accommodations, drinks, catering, the works. They attempted to conceal it, of course, through public relations and internal investigations, claiming personnel privacy. However, their efforts were futile. 8 of the attendees were found to have been either on duty or attending a fictitious hospital seminar at the time. After the revelation emerged, numerous marriages disintegrated, ours among them. We were merely one in the destruction's path. This wasn't their first infidelity, but it was definitely their last for me. Divorce proceedings ensued. What other option was there? Despite my character, I am not vindictive or confrontational. I maintain a peaceful demeanor. I repair aircraft for a living, mending faults and keeping engines soaring. Drama is not in my nature, but alas, I deeply loved her more than just my belongings, as the old rom-com goes. Thus, instead of hastily filing the papers, I waited, observed, listened. She sought counseling. The kids stood by me. They recognized my persistence and saw my efforts. However, it was painful. It felt like an unexpected impact from an unseen train. All along, I couldn't help but question myself. How could I have been so oblivious? United Airlines granted me an extended medical leave, empathizing with my situation. They truly did understand. Simultaneously, Laura lost her employment, as did the rest of that troupe. Dr. Whitaker, dismissed, sued. One Natalie Roberts and her assistant were acquitted, leaving the hospital with a nurse shortage and frantically searching for doctors while attempting to conceal their actions. Laura, however, was not an innocent party. She had joined their hidden sex ring willingly after being targeted by them for over a year. Natalie manipulated Laura, insinuating that it was empowering and that many men found it attractive when their wives were with other men. After 6 months of this persuasion, Laura agreed. It took me over a year to start feeling like myself again. I kept pondering the same question. Was it better to have her or not? I couldn't decide. I developed an unusual level of vigilance towards her, constantly questioning if everything was okay between us. I noticed the signs of her strain as she maintained her facade. Yet, she persisted with therapy. She heeded advice from her parents and children. She observed that I was searching for reasons to regain trust. And again, she told me she still loved me. God help me, I believed her. Eventually, I filed a lawsuit against the hospital and Dr. Whitaker. Rebecca's divorce case came before mine, but I was ahead of many others. Ultimately, Wyme and our children agreed to a confidential 6-figure settlement. The remaining plaintiffs shared a larger payout. Damage control, hush money, call it what you will. As for Laura, she couldn't appear in public for months. I'm still unsure if her friends still speak to her now. Was I fortunate in the end? Perhaps. I acted just in time. My brain functioned at its peak when it mattered most, and I had my children and a few faithful friends supporting me when everything fell apart. Did I undervalue my marriage? Possibly. No longer the case. It took over a year for our return, yet here we are. Surprisingly, our intimate life has improved. It's raw, vulnerable, authentic. Sometimes she cries afterward, deep sobs filled with remorse, wishing she could mend everything that was broken. It's not flawless, but we're healing. And be assured, I'm no pushover. Approximately 8 months following the ordeal, I encountered Whitaker at the gym. He appeared self-assured, as if he were still invincible. I waited till he was alone. Then I brutally assaulted him, fracturing 3 of his fingers and damaging 1 testicle. Any remaining allure he possessed, I stripped away from his face. Fortunately, I was accompanied by an off-duty officer at the time. Call it destiny or poetic justice. So, yes, life continues. Yes, I know my actions may seem harsh, tasteless, even cruel. But don't underestimate me. When my wife is at stake, I won't stay silent like a feeble, spineless man. You shatter my emotions, I'll fracture your features. Straightforward arithmetic. In essence, that sums up the narrative. Quite a roller coaster journey, isn't it? If you're persisting, if you're tuned in, perhaps you're contemplating, wow, this can't be genuine. But let me assure you, your actual life doesn't seek approval to become chaotic. It just does so. It topples you over, wounds you deeply, and challenges you to get back up. So consider that your head's up. Stay vigilant. Recognize who shares your bed. Because often, the individual you trust the most might be the one concealing a weapon behind their back. Subscribe to this channel so your significant other doesn't transform into your biggest betrayer. And stay put, because the following tale, you haven't heard even a fraction of it yet. This was merely a prelude, And for the underage viewers, switch off. Seriously, you're not prepared for what lies ahead.